Hello and welcome to When Grooms Get Engaged, the podcast about a guy's perspective to wedding planning from two guys that are currently trying to survive their own. I'm Steve.
And I'm Chris. And each week we talk about how we navigated a different part of the wedding planning journey, what we learned in the process, and what maybe we had wished we had done differently. So, Steve, what are we talking about this week?
Chris, this week we are talking about wedding gifts and the registry.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Potentially the fun stuff. But yeah, we're going to kind of go over expectations on gifts to you and your wife, as well as why you maybe should have a registry. But before that, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast if you find it enjoyable or you think it might help someone else. Anyway, Chris, registry, gifts. Where do you stand on that? Are gifts should you expect gifts from people? Let's start from that.
Should you expect gifts? I think you should definitely not expect a gift. You're just like, don't expect everyone to give you something. And we talked about this before. Don't expect to break even on your wedding with gifts or with cash gifts or anything like that, right? Don't have that expectation. You're going to be disappointed. So I kind of we're starting there, right? Like, try not to go in with too lofty expectations, right? This is something that, people can celebrate you. It should be a fun thing, but just realize that not everyone is in the same position of life. Not everyone has the same cultural background. So just make sure that you kind of, it's just going to save you a lot of stress if you don't expect a gift from anybody, so that when you receive gifts, like, hey, this is a bonus, right? That's the way it should be thought of. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. It's at the end of the day, right? You're inviting people not to give you something. You're inviting people to celebrate a monumental, once in a lifetime, moment in your life. You shouldn't do this with expectation that it's just to get gifts. You shouldn't do this with expectation that you will break even or something thereabouts. Anything you get is be thankful for it. It's all, out of generosity, but do not go in with that expectation. Do not go in. Chris, I'm sure you've heard about this, right? The idea that someone will pay for their plate, whatever that means. Like, no, that's dumb. Don't expect that. Don't go in with it. Just invite people who you want to be there. And then, any gift you may or may not get, be thankful for it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I've read some articles or seen some things around the internet about, like, couples sharing how much, like, it is per person on, like, invitations to kind of set up an expectation.
No.
Or they get a gift that's like under that amount, and then they like go back to them and say, like, no, you need to give us more because that doesn't cover your plate, basically, as you said. So, like, it's a real bad look. People shouldn't be expected to do that. They're there to celebrate you, and if it's not in your budget, then you should be toning down certain parts of your wedding. Then.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah, it's real.
Oh, that's so tacky.
Yeah, right.
Wait, so their invitations, like, hey,
like they
welcome
made it
to
known.
My wedding.
Yeah, they made it known, like, how much it was for like, yeah, per person.
Oh, thank you to my wedding. By the way, it cost me $300 to host you, so I expect at least that much back. Like, that's
exactly.
Oh, I feel embarrassed for
right?
this couple.
It's just yeah, it's a gross thing. So
it's
don't do that. Don't do that.
Good God, don't do that. I mean, here's the thing. Unfortunately, when you're in the middle of this, you'll know what everything costs by plate-wise, but, like, that's just the nature of the beast. Don't do that. Don't expect anything. Don't do it expecting to get something, right? However, that said, a lot of people will give you gifts. That's just the reality of, how a wedding works. So the point of this episode is to kind of go over how to get gifts that are useful, how to kind of help your guests get you gifts if they want to, and how to kind of organize this so you're not just swimming in boxes,
Yeah, exactly. So let's start. Why should we set up a registry, Steve?
So the reason why you set up a registry is because, A, it's organized. The best part about it is that you have everything in one spot so you can see who got you what, and you can track, like if you any receipts you may or may not need, it's easy to return. And you can also all that stuff gets shipped, delivered to your house, so you don't have to kind of like, drive around like, picking it up, or people don't have to bring it to you. It all just kind of comes to your house. So a registry keeps you organized. But generally, Chris, like, what kind of things do you want to put on your registry?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things to consider, right? And number one, kind of what you might expect a lot of is that there's going to be potentially a lot of cash, right? People, you should expect, or you should plan to have a card box at your wedding. I don't think I've been to a wedding without one. Just have a card box, something for people to drop off there, or like a gift table where people can, actually put gifts if it's not like a destination wedding or they decided to buy you something physical. But you can set up on a registry a cash fund, right? And setting that up allows people to give ahead of time or on the day of. You can also put like QR codes, though I don't recommend that. I think you should just keep it on your website. And that'll be kind of like the most common thing that you probably can expect to receive gift-wise. Did you feel the same way?
So, in my opinion, cash is king in general. Like, if you're going to do a gift, cash is just the easiest one,
Maximum
the best
flexibility.
one. Maximum flexibility, right? The couple can get whatever they need. However, from my culture, that's also the preferred gift. In general, like the expectation is like you bring a card, you bring cash, you bring a check.
Yep.
However, I didn't know about this, but in some American cultures, people will give you anything but cash.
Yep.
Like giving cash is a taboo. It feels icky.
Mm-hmm.
And people would rather not give you a gift than give you cash, which is also important why you need to set up a registry so that, there is something else that they can give you.
Yeah, to touch on that too, like it's a similar cultural kind of gift giving attitude in the Chinese culture is like the hongbao, the like red envelope full of cash. So that's what you can kind of expect in kind of more of a Asian type wedding, I would say, or at least a Chinese, Taiwanese type of wedding. But yeah, as you said, like it can be a taboo thing to give cash in maybe certain parts of the United States, and so they like will demand like a registry from you. They want to give you something physical.
Or I know a big thing now is like, let's say business associates, or maybe let's say you're like a higher up manager, director at a company, and like the vendors you deal with, they're not going to give you cash, obviously, but the company will buy something off your registry, which is why like I know we got some gifts like that, which is really nice as well. So this is kind of why you want to have a registry. Even if you may prefer cash, just the logistics, the reality is that not everyone is comfortable with giving cash, but they are comfortable with giving, things. And so, you don't want people to give you things you don't need, essentially. Yes. That's just going to make your life harder because you got to take it, you got to return it. Like, you appreciate it, but you're not going to, hold on to plates that you have 3 sets of already.
Yeah.
A registry could be like, hey, thank you for thinking of me. This is actually what I kind of want. This particular plate, or this cup, or this glass.
Yeah, as you said, a lot of benefits to it. Obviously, you can get exactly what you want, right? It's not like a guessing game of like, would they like this type of plate or this type of glassware? You're getting exactly what you want. Also, what's nice is that most companies have a prolonged return window. So, like, people can potentially buy you gifts like a month before the wedding, right? And then you don't have to worry about returning it until 30 to 90 days post-event, which is just amazing. So even though they're like buying it ahead of time, you may or may not receive it early, but you have an extended window in order to like open it, see if you want it, see if you got any doubles or anything like that, and then you're able to return it usually with very little hassle during that return window. So it's also very easy, right? It's just an easy thing to do. So you might as well put one on your website. Or if we're talking about setting up one, you can do individual. So like you don't necessarily have to do one through the Knot or Zola, but you can go to like Target and set up a registry. You can go to Macy's and set up a registry. You can go to Crate and Barrel, set up a registry, and at all these different websites and companies. But the nice thing about, again, we're getting another shout out here, the for the Knot, like you're able to.
Are we getting paid yet, Chris? That's
yeah,
the question
exactly. Maybe one day. But honestly, it's nice and convenient on their website is that you're able to like enter your kind of referral code or your link, and so that everything lives on that website. So someone visiting your wedding website, which they are already going to do for logistics or for RSVPs, they now have a page they can go to and click on the registry link and then visit any of those companies, kind of like a one-stop shop, right? Like everything kind of lives there. So that's the way I would recommend doing it, instead of like having individual links or just like sharing them individually with like family members. Like do a combined one via the Knot, and it's great.
Yeah, and I didn't really do much of the legwork on this because, again, like my background is cash. So, like all the weddings, like Chris, I know your wedding. I'm like, okay, he's just gonna get cash. I'm not gonna even bother looking at the registry. Like all the weddings we've been to, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna give him cash. Like that's what I do. That's my thing. That's how I was raised. So like I didn't really put much thought into the registry. I know my wife did. I know we were at the Knot and we were registered with Crate and Barrel, Pottery Barn, and Target, I believe. So we just we kind of went with, well, my wife went with a lot of household items that we kind of needed. Like we had like older plates, older silverware, things we've been lugging around since like, baby's first apartment out of college that needed a little bit of an upgrade. How about you guys? What areas, like what places did you go with? Like what were you looking for?
We looked at stores that we traditionally like to, like we like the things there, right? So it's a lot of similar stores as you just mentioned. So when we looked at Macy's, they had, we were struggling also for like, again, in the Chinese Taiwanese culture, the hongbao, the cash gift is kind of also king. So on our registry, we actually like had a short couple sentences explaining that as like the cultural norm.
Oh, really? Nice.
As a way of like as a subtle nod to all the guests to be like, hey, we have this registry for you if you want it, but like go ahead and give us cash. It's preferred. And so, so when we did it with Macy's, you set it up, and then they also have like a store consultant, right, or a wedding registry consultant. And so we actually scheduled like a virtual interview with them, and they just kind of helped us like, hey, what are you thinking about? Like we can kind of make recommendations, and it was kind of helpful to kind of like it was like a brainstorming session of like what we potentially might want and what might be available at their store. And so like we found that decently helpful. Quick like less than 30-minute call just to kind of get some ideas and start getting things on the registry. So that was kind of like our online experience, right? Like we looked at the Macy's website and we were adding things on there. And then we did a slightly different thing for Crate and Barrel. We saw that they were hosting like an in-person event. And so you can actually go to the store and they'll give you kind of like an iPad where you're able to like link to your registry on it. And then you can start scanning barcodes in store of things that you like and automatically add it to your registry. So very cool to be like actually be there physically to add things. And Macy's has this opportunity too. But just want to shout it out that like I think you should try to go to the store instead of trying to do it online so that you can actually see it in person, make sure you like it, make sure you love it. And it's like a very simple process, and it's it's kind of fun way to spend like a half hour to an hour just like looking at stuff that you might want.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to like silverware plates and these kind of items, touching it, seeing how it is in a physical space is very important. Because the last thing you want is to, put items you never looked at and then you get it and it feels flimsy or it feels too heavy or it's too big for your mouth, or like any number of things. So it's good to just see these items. And like you mentioned, it's fun to kind of just walk around and just scan things, just add to the registry. It's like, oh, these would make a great old fashioned. Let me get that cup. Oh, this is great for my martini. Let me get those cups. And you go a little overboard, to be fair, when you do this, because you just kind of add everything because everything looks cool. But yeah, definitely make it a day. Just go around, see what you need. But word of caution, don't over add stuff because then you got to put it somewhere when you get it. Chris, I know we're
Yeah.
having this issue where I don't know where we're going to put all these glasses. I believe you may be having this issue as well.
Yeah, I think it's like be have fun with it, but also just keep in mind like don't add like four different types of plates because otherwise if you get them all, then you're going to have some mismatching plates, right?
Yeah.
Maybe just ask for 2 or 3 sets of the same so you have like matching sets. Again, you might not want that, but just kind of think about that. Don't just like add 6 different types of the same thing because if you get them all, then you're going to be like, what do I do with everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a good thing to do is the in and out method. So if you're adding a plate, make sure you have a plate at home you can just get rid of. That way
Yep.
you're not needing any extra space. I know we just swapped out all of our plates, all of our glasses, so all that stuff fit. But we got these gorgeous coupe glasses that are like smoky. They look super cool. They're pretty expensive, and I'm afraid I'm gonna break them. So I like part of me doesn't even want to take them out to like use them because I'm just afraid I'm gonna like shatter them. So I'm kind of going back and forth. It's like, what do I do with this? But they are really pretty. They're really nice. So I can't wait to eventually, be gentle with it and make a good cocktail out of it.
I mean, that's a great point. I think people's attitudes with like home goods should be as an upgrade opportunity, right? Like, what do I currently have that I wish was a little nicer, or what do I need like more of? So look at it as like an upgrade opportunity where you would then be removing those items from your household and like putting these new stuff in. So like upgrading your glassware, upgrading your plateware, pots, pans, anything like that. Get stuff that's a little bit nicer, stuff that's going to last a long time. Think of it as an upgrade opportunity will be kind of helpful.
Yeah, and honestly, some of these things that are expensive, they're expensive for a reason. They're nice. I love our U plates so much. They have like the little lip. They look so cool. I love our silverware that we just got from this. Like, they're just nice. It just feels nicer to eat with nicer stuff. So it's kind of fun. Enjoy it. Don't pick like the next point that we're going to make, Chris, is kind of have items at every price range. But so we're talking like 20, 30, 40, $50 up to maybe like $300 plus items. But don't just put cheap things on there to be cheap. You just want to you want to put nice things. Like there are like nice, classy things that aren't like super expensive. Try to kind of prioritize those.
Yeah, everyone's at a different point in life. Everyone is in a different financial situation. So just make sure you're including items at all different price points so that people have options. It's kind of important. So, but yeah, and have some fun. There might be some people that want to spend a little bit more to celebrate you. So like you can add things that, you might think are kind of outside the norm, but just make sure you hit all levels so that, it's not just things that are $1,000.
Yeah, don't do that. Otherwise, you're not getting anything.
Yeah, exactly. You're not getting anything.
People are going to be like, what's wrong with this person?
The other thing I would say is that I think we turned this option off, but it was for gift cards because when we talked to the consultant and talked to the people in the store, we're like, people can give you potentially gift cards. And, so like if someone gives you like a $50 gift card, someone else gives you a $150 gift card, someone gives you a $75 gift card. I was like, so is that kind of just all calculated, tabulated, and then combined into like one like super massive, gift card, right? That's, worth like everything that everyone kind of put into one pot. And they're like, no, you would get an individual gift card for every gift. So if you get like 10 people buy quote unquote gift cards at different levels, you'll be sent 10 gift cards. And that just seems very annoying to me. So we're like, turn those options off on our registry. And we're just like, if people don't want to buy us something physical, give us cash. So I would kind of say avoid the gift card situation. And also if you are invited to a wedding, I would say maybe also avoid the gift card situation. Even if it might be on their registry, give them cash at that point if there's like no physical gift that is kind of piquing your interest to get them.
Yeah, gift cards are they're kind of the worst
Yeah, it's kind of the worst gift, right?
Of cash, essentially,
Yeah.
And just from like a financial perspective, it's such a benefit to the company because like so many companies recognize so much revenue due to like a gift card burn rate that they just assume people lose or let's say you have a gift card that has like $3 on it, you just don't care about it anymore.
Yep.
It's just free money to the company. At some level they know it. That's why they offer it. But like, forget gift cards. Not really a fan either. And honestly, Chris, from a lot of these items, since you do have such a generous return policy, as you return things, you'll be getting the gift card anyway.
Yep.
And it's just so much easier if you have one gift card that you return things to. So you just have one giant super gift card rather than like 30 small ones. Just that, like, where are you going to put everything?
Yep. We returned a couple things that we returned to the store, and then just got like one big gift card. So definitely, it's going to happen. So don't be dealing with a lot of individual cards. Otherwise, you're going to lose them, or it's just going to be really hard to like pay for anything. Like, you're going to have to like scan 3 different gift cards because one has $3, one has 15, and one has 50.
Actually, this is maybe a good time to talk about some of the registry oddities. Like specifically the returns. When you return something from your registry, it will all of a sudden mark on the registry as available. So saying that, like, say someone bought you something, you go and return it, the registry will show up as you still want one of that thing. So then someone else can buy you it again, which is very annoying because this happened to us. We had one person buy us something. We had to return it because it was cracked in shipping. However, it showed up as all of a sudden we need one more of this thing. So now we have 2 of it. Which is annoying, just something to be aware of. It might happen. And also people, if they're a little like Snoopy, not Snoopy, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just kind of like Snoopy. Yeah, I guess Snoopy is. They'll be like, oh, you returned my gift. But why? Just something to be aware of, that registries do show that.
Yeah. Just be aware of that, and that is a very good tip to make sure you share with everybody, because we ran into a similar situation as well. So just very, very good advice that it will pop up again on your website. So just make sure you're paying attention to that if you're going to return anything, like especially like ahead of the wedding or just immediately after.
Mm-hmm. And then also, Chris, with our registry, we would just randomly get shit delivered. We would just come home and there's like 30 boxes outside our doors. We're like, where's these coming from? I don't know if we just did not set up the setting correctly, but like I never got a tracking number for anything. Things would just show up. And it's like, okay, thank you, Crate and Barrel. I appreciate it. And Crate and Barrel, I think, has some of the most like redundant packaging on their stuff. There's just so much bubble tape in that thing. There's so much this tape. There's so much this wrapping, and it just creates such a mess. And your apartment, house, whatever, will just be literally boxes. You're going to feel like Scrooge McDuck swimming in a pool of not cash, unfortunately, but just boxes, just everywhere. Ugh.
Yeah. Kat and I are what we would consider ourselves thrifty, and we know that we potentially may be looking at a move in the near future. And so there was all this like extra like air bubble wrap
So
from Crate and
much.
Barrel, and we kept
Nice.
a lot of it for future packing purposes. So we started at her parents' place out in the burbs. Obviously just getting free storage with them a little bit, storing it just in their basement, but for future use. But yeah, I get what you're saying with all the air wrapping there.
There's just so much. And then, Chris, but one really nice thing about these places, Crate and Barrel, I think is one of the more generous ones, is after your wedding, you'll usually get a discount code. Crate and Barrels was like 15% off through the end of the year for us, which is, it's not an insignificant amount of money.
Yeah, it's not. And I mean, I want to touch on, obviously, just the etiquette of everything. When you're ordering through these companies, like you're able to see and track everything from from everyone that gave you a gift, right? And it's amazing having everything kind of in one area that you can just like kind of maybe import to a different spreadsheet. But just making sure that you can track everyone that gave you a gift so that you can make sure you properly thank them. Have you started that process at all?
Gina has. We split our things into my people and her people. Like, which side are they on? for who's writing what. And I know she started writing cards and like emailed or mailed some of them. I have yet to, but actually, yeah, let's talk about the etiquette real quick, and let's actually talk about it from the perspective of a guest. Chris, have you heard this? Apparently, it is common that guests have up to 6 months to like give you a gift. I had never heard of this, but I read it somewhere.
That seems like a long time.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I don't know who makes up these rules. Honestly, it's like so much of this crap that we're reading on these websites. Like, who decided? Who knows? But on this one website, I read this. I don't think that's reasonable because 6 months is a long time. You know,
I was
life
thinking
moves
like
on.
at most a month, maybe, but that just seems kind of crazy.
Well, so we actually have had this in the last month. We've gotten some gifts from people. Maybe it's people that like couldn't make it to our wedding, or it's people that since our wedding was overseas, you know, they didn't want to travel with whatever the gift was. So like I get that, but like yeah, it's a month, you know, month and a half. 6 months is a decent amount of time. Is like you're moved on with your life. It seems kind of weird to wait that long.
I mean, I'm not gonna return necessarily a free gift that I was looking for, or like feel bad about it. But it would just be kind of weird to receive something for your wedding 6 months afterwards.
Yeah, you're like, wait, I got married 6 months ago. It's been that long. It's like a whole new world. But just know you won't stop getting gifts on your wedding day. Like there will still be things kind of filtered in slowly.
That's a good point.
You know, like lingering things. Just be aware of that. It does happen.
Yep.
But as with everything, write down what people got you, like who got you something. And this isn't so much to kind of like keep tab and like do the same back. But I know for me, Chris, like this is a big deal to my parents because it's like they went to so and so's son's wedding, and what did they give? Were they respected back? Like these are things that like my parents want to know, for instance.
That was I have a very similar situation, and it's just the respect factor, and just making sure it's returned in kind at any point, right? So
write down what people got you.
Cards, right? Like, so
yes.
Sorry to interrupt, but like the registry obviously is helpful with all of these websites. They're going to keep track of like who got what for you. You're able to look that up online. But when you're opening up your cards, like after the wedding, like start an Excel spreadsheet and just like mark down like who gave you how much, or gave you what, or if it was just a card, just so you can acknowledge it. So it's not about like keeping tabs. It's just like making sure that you're thanking people properly for what they got you.
Yeah. And every person that came to your wedding should get a thank you card. No matter what, right? They came to your wedding, like they took the time to celebrate you. Who cares if they got you a gift? They need to get a thank you card. If they did get you a gift and you're writing a thank you card, you can also, use that gift to make it more personalized. Oh, thank you for being there. We love your gift of XYZ. It meant so much to us. This will be so useful in the future. Yada, yada, yada. So you can use that information to make the thank you card even more personal, which is nice, right? So,
yeah,
like I have read stories, Chris, again on Reddit, but best place for information, where people will talk about how, oh yeah, my husband or oh yeah, my wife opened all our cards, and then now we just have a pool of money, no idea who got us what.
Yep,
and that just sounds. Oh, so short-sighted.
Sounds like a nightmare.
It sounds like a nightmare, yeah. Because, like, what do you do? So just one at a time. One person can open the card, read it, see what they got. One person can take notes. Just keep it organized. The more organized you are, the easier it's going to be for you, essentially.
Yeah, that's great advice. That's exactly what we did.
Yeah, and Chris, have you started thank you cards yet?
No, so we, as the maybe last bit of stationery that we had to get, we just got our thank you cards in the mail. So we're going to be starting to write those very soon. But I think you made a great point earlier, is that like, there is some lag time, right? There might be Um, cards that people brought to the wedding, they didn't see your card box, totally forgot about it in their purse, left, got home, like, oh damn, like I forgot to give it to them, right? I
Yeah,
forgot.
that
Having
happens.
so much fun, I forgot to put it in the card box, and so they might mail it to you, which might take a couple days, or they don't get to it right away, and like they mail it like a week later. So just know that there's going to be some lag. So don't start writing thank yous maybe right away. Give it 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then start writing your thank yous just to make sure that you have the majority of them all accounted for.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. But make sure to write your thank yous.
Yes.
People came to your wedding. They took their time out for you. You definitely want to thank them for that.
And I think Crate and Barrel has, I can't remember, but the website maybe allows you to thank them like online in like a little chat feature. I can't remember, maybe if it's just like a notation field, but it seems like you can thank them like through the website. Don't do that. Take the time, write a handwritten note, and do it properly. Mail them a proper thank you. Don't do it online.
Yeah, don't do it online. But also, real quick, from the gift giver's side, if you're going to give someone, put your name on it.
Yes.
Please. That's just, we want to send you a thank you card. We want to appreciate it. We just need to know who it's from. Because thankfully, this hasn't happened with me. But Chris, I hear it may have happened with you.
Yeah, definitely. We received, 1 or 2 gifts that didn't have a name on them. So
a very nice gift too.
Yeah, very again, like we want to properly thank the people that got us these gifts, and it's kind of very stressful to not have that information, and then it's like, what is the etiquette about reaching out to certain people who may or may not have given you a gift and saying, is this like, did you get us something? Did you not? Again, there's like, we had no expectation, and we're not trying to be awkward, but it is an awkward conversation to have, or text someone, or just trying to like find out who got you what. So just make sure your name is on.
Oh my God, such an awkward conversation. Can you imagine opening a group chat? It's like, hey, these are all the people that didn't get us anything. We have one unclaimed gift. Who wants to claim it? Don't do that.
Exactly.
Do not do that. But like, that's pretty much what it comes down to, because you do want to give this person kudos. Like, hey, like this. Thank you for doing this. We want to send you a thank you card.
Exactly. So don't make it stressful on the couple. Include a note. Include your name. Even if you think that information is through the registry, it's also nice just to sign it anyway. Even if you're doing it through Macy's, Crate and Barrel, and everything, just put your name at the end. It just makes things so much easier on the back end for the couple.
Yes, please and thank you. But yeah, Chris, while cash is king, a registry is also something very important to consider. Is there anything else that we maybe want to add to this?
No, I think we touched on it briefly, but you can set up like a cash fund on the website as well. So like if you want to provide people an opportunity to maybe put money towards a honeymoon or towards a new house or some other like big purchase, that can be done on these websites as well. That was not a direction we wanted to go. We didn't want to put those specific buckets out there for people. We just wanted to have a simple cash fund. But that is available and something that you can do if you're interested.
Yeah, I know we did that. Just real quick, I believe the cash fund charges 1 or 2% to the person giving you the gift. I want to say, I forgot the exact amount, but they charge something. Just to be aware of it.
Yeah. Which is also then, if you're a giver of a gift, maybe again, we said it maybe 5 times now, but cash is king.
Cash is king.
Or a check.
Which is, pretty close to cash.
All right. Anything else you want to add to the registry discussion before we wrap up?
Just want to reiterate, don't go in expecting gifts, but just know that people will want to give you gifts. The goal of the registry is that when people do want to give you a gift, they get you something that you actually have use for, and it's not an undue burden to you to have to return it for like something else. That's the point of the registry.
Well said.
Okay, Chris, with that, thanks for hanging out. Everyone, thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
See you next episode, everybody. Thanks.
All right. Bye, Chris.